Hey everyone, Alex here. I talk about mindful consumption, fragrances, and other more deep and introspective thoughts that I have. And in this video, I wanted to talk about the obsession that people have with ridiculous performance when it comes to fragrances, and this expectation and belief that if a fragrance doesn't perform like an absolute monster, if it doesn't last 15 hours, and if it doesn't project 6 feet from your body, that it's not worth it and that it's not a good fragrance. Now, my fragrance of the day and what made me want to make this video is Tom Ford Noir Extreme. This is a fragrance that I have had and have worn since I was about 18 years old. I had somebody buy it for me for Christmas, and I didn't really know a lot about fragrances at the time. Here in Australia, our Christmases, especially in Adelaide where I'm from, are usually very, very hot. High 30s, talking Celsius here, sometimes 40 degrees. And I was still wearing Tom Ford Noir Extreme on this Christmas. And even though it's technically not a warm weather fragrance, it still worked really nicely, and I just loved it because it smelled really good. I sort of do miss being at a point where I don't really care too much about the rules of fragrance, the rules or the way that we do things. I didn't have seasonal fragrances. I didn't have customs for when to or when to not wear a fragrance. I just wore what I really liked. I sort of miss that. Anyway, I'm wearing Tom Ford Noir Extreme today, and this is a widely loved fragrance. It's highly regarded as one of the best date night fragrances, for one of the best winter fragrances. It's very sensual, it's very sexy, it smells incredible. But where it gets a lot of criticism is in its performance. It doesn't last hugely long. I have to agree, it doesn't last hugely long, and it doesn't project like a beast. Now, I'm on record as somebody who has criticized this fragrance in the past. In one of my videos, I believe it was the fragrances I won't be rebuying, I believe that I mentioned Tom Ford Noir Extreme, and I spoke about how it has been reformulated. It doesn't last very long, and it's not hugely strong compared to what it used to be like. And whilst I do agree with that, my mindset has changed a little bit, and I wanted to come on here and discuss that. In the past, I did care a lot more about longevity. Projection has never really been something that I've been too concerned with, because I do believe, and I'm going to speak about this a little bit more, I believe that there's a time and a place for all sorts of different fragrances. I have a lot of fragrances that really do project, things like Xerjoff Tony Iommi Monkey Special, things like Ebene Fumé by Tom Ford, Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford, Tuscan Leather, all of these different fragrances that really do shout, they scream, and they just project. And whenever you walk into a room, people can smell you before you've really come anywhere near them. I think there is a time and a place for those fragrances, but I actually believe that there is more of a time and a place for fragrances that are a little bit more subdued, a little bit more subtle. They still need to smell good, and it's nice if they last a little bit longer. But I think that fragrances are better when they don't absolutely scream and shout at you. I've said in the past that fragrances need to be discovered, not announced. Well, they should be discovered, not announced. And I believe that I initially heard that from Antonio, is that his name? Antonio from Real Man, Real Style. He has said that a lot over the years, that fragrances are better when they're discovered, not announced. And initially I didn't really agree too much with that, but I really do believe that that is the case if you just want to present yourself well. It's one thing to smell nice. It's another thing to punch somebody in the face with your fragrance. And in the past, whilst I've wanted fragrances to really do that, and I've wanted people to know how good I smell, my mind has really changed around that. I think it's actually more classy, and I think that it's more appealing to have a fragrance that people enjoy because they get a subtle hint of it. It's really not appealing to people. Doesn't matter how good the fragrance smells, it's not appealing to them when they can't escape your fragrance. They can't escape the way that you smell. That starts to be off-putting, and it doesn't matter how good the fragrance is, it doesn't matter how much people love it, it becomes off-putting. There's nothing worse than being stuck in an elevator with somebody, and it doesn't matter how good they smell, the only thing that you can smell, and every single breath that you take, you're effectively eating their perfume. That's not nice. It's not enjoyable. It's not classy. It's sort of, it comes across as really desperate for attention. and desperate for validation and desperate to have people notice you. And to me, that has the opposite effect of what most people are wearing fragrances for. Most people, in my opinion, and certainly the case for me, wear fragrances because they want to smell appealing, they want to smell attractive, and they want to feel a bit more confident. And a subtle fragrance will do that for you. A nice smelling fragrance will do that for you. Bonus points for longevity. Of course, when you spray something, you want it to last. But I think that we need to get past this obsession with beast mode, hugely projecting fragrances. Because something like this, it's only classy when it's applied right. If I did 20 sprays of this and it's the only thing that people could smell when I walk into a room, that enticing, mysterious, sensual sort of aura that this fragrance gives off would be counteracted by the fact that people are now off-put by it because they can't help but smell it. And I think that some fragrances, especially ones like this, that are really suitable for date nights, you don't need everybody else to smell you. You only really need your date to smell you. You want, when somebody's up close to you, to enjoy your fragrance. Now, for me, I know that my girlfriend doesn't really like super strong fragrances, and that's another thing that has sort of changed the way that I view projection beasts. Oftentimes when I spray something and my girlfriend gets really up close to me, if it's too strong, she doesn't like it. Even if it's a fragrance that she's complimented me on in the past, she doesn't like it because it's all that she can smell when she's up close. So that's where something like Tom Ford Noir Extreme is really suitable, because when she does get up close, it's not overpowering, but it's still very pleasant, it's still very enjoyable, and it's sensual and sexy. It has the opposite effect when it's too strong. And there are so many people, guys and girls, that men and women, when they go anywhere, they just spray like it's the only time they're ever going to get to be able to wear that fragrance. They want every single person that they walk past to catch the sillage of their fragrance and to just not be able to help but smell them. And it's completely off-putting. And I really want to be one of the people that advocates for being a little bit more considerate and a little bit more mindful of how you're coming across with your fragrance. When you do spray too much, not only are people off-put by you, but they start to associate that fragrance with negative connotations. Things like Baccarat Rouge 540, things like Dior Sauvage, things like Creed Aventus, where people, or YSL EDP, people just overspray them like there's no tomorrow. And people start to associate them poorly because it's a certain type of person that wears that. Do you want to be that certain type of person? Because I certainly don't. Do you want to have those fragrances that you really love associated negatively like that? I certainly don't. So my mind is shifting. I believe, and I think that more people should start to really consider the fact that fragrances that don't absolutely project are actually pretty important, and they serve a really specific purpose, and that is to help you smell confident, to help you smell sensual and sexy, pleasant, whatever it is, without coming across as desperate for attention, without coming across as, you know, you're gonna die if you don't get somebody's validation. There's something really special and there's something really attractive about somebody who smells nice but doesn't desperately need other people to notice. They're the types of people that usually get compliments on their fragrances, not the people that are overspraying like there's no tomorrow. And that's sort of where I stand on that. I'm really changing the way that I view fragrances. I have been really enjoying a lot of more subtle fragrances lately. I've been wearing a lot of more subtle fragrances, and one of the positives that's really come out of that is I am allowing myself to enjoy fragrances that I otherwise would have overlooked, because in the past I've been too concerned about their performance, or I've been too concerned about whether or not other people can smell them. I really do think that there are a lot of fragrances that a lot of you are probably missing out on really enjoying because you're too obsessed with the way that the fragrance performs. At the end of the day, the single most important thing is, how does it smell? Do you like how it smells? If you do, give it a chance. I see so many comments where people are like, you know, I'm looking for a fragrance that just projects like crazy, or I'm looking for a super long-lasting fragrance. Or you read the comments in these YouTube or TikTok reviews of fragrances, and the only thing people seem to care about is, does it last long? Does it project? Does it perform? Who cares? Does it smell good? That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter if it projects, if it smells like crap. So I think just try and pay a little bit more attention to how it smells. and a little bit less attention to how it performs. And I think you'll find yourself enjoying fragrances a lot more. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. If you found this video insightful in any way, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment down below and let me know. If there's another topic that you would love me to talk about, if there's a fragrance that I should check out, please do comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll speak with you soon.